All right, over and out.
Angelo, what are you doing?
Hey, Eli, how you doing? What you up to today?
We're filming an episode right now and the cameras are rolling.
Oh, shoot, I hope no one caught my conversation.
Well, we've got a great episode ahead no matter who is mumbling to themselves on set. We've got Ben Sparrow, Josie Underhill, and a whole lot more.
Yeah, so totally don't tamper with all the unified media video files that caught your private spy conversations, because the real deal starts now, baby.
Hello and welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Eli Brunsman.
And I'm Angelo 007.
Angelo, you're not a real spy.
That's for me to know and for you to never find out.
While I try to figure out what Angelo means by that, here's Ben Sparrow with your Hollywood headlines.
Thanks, guys, and welcome to Hollywood Headlines. There haven't been a ton of bombshell news stories this past week, excluding the ones about Rocket Man's bombshells, but I think I've sorted through Hollywood and found some gems. This week, we're going to do another installment of my favorite segment, Flash Facts. Facts in a Flash. In upcoming movie news, the newest Tomb Raider, starring Alicia Vikander, has the first poster and trailer. Vikander is taking over the mantle of Lara Croft from Angelina Jolie, whose 2 outings as Croft were mixed at best. Some people have criticized the poster, claiming that Vikander has a, quote, giraffe neck. I did the research, and I've determined that only giraffes have giraffe necks, so this claim has to be false. Tomb Raider comes out next year. Have you ever felt like every Terminator movie since T2 Judgment Day has been terrible? Well, Paramount Pictures thinks so. It was recently announced that the newest Terminator movie will be a sequel to T2 and will ignore all existing canon. Linda Hamilton will reprise her role as Sarah Connor, and Schwarzenegger will stay on as the Terminator. No wonder Schwarzenegger and the Terminator series are synonymous. Both understand when to stop coming back. Star Trek Discovery is making headlines. The long-awaited newest chapter in the Star Trek series follows the crew of the Discovery as they go where no Trek TV show has gone before, into the past. Released weekly on CBS All Access, the series looks promising, with the franchise's first female color woman lead in Sonequa Martin Green. The show has gotten great reviews and has a refreshing and new chapter in the Star Trek mythos. One last thing to keep in mind, Star Trek Discovery is on the original timeline and predates the original Star Trek series, the Star Trek TV show. Oh yeah, and Kylie Jenner's pregnant. And I'm done with that. Well, that'll do it for me. If you want more information on these and other stories, use Bing. Well, use Bing to search for Google, and then use Google to do your research. Till next time, I'm Ben Sparrow.
Thanks, Ben. You know, Eli, if you had a code name like Kingsman, what would yours be?
That's classified, meaning if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay, moving on. From American spies, not that I am one or anything, to British spies, here's Josie Underhill with this week's spectacular movie review.
Warning, this movie contains explicit language, graphic images, killer stunts, and an all-around intense experience. The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, is a fun espionage film that ups the ante and throws the Kingsman into a doomsday scenario. It starts following Agent Eggsy Galahad of the Kingsman, a secret intelligence agency set in Britain. He receives an unexpected visit from a failed agent turned evil. This leads to the fall of the Kingsman. The last remaining agents, Eggsy and Merlin, are forced to let country roads take them home to Kentucky, where they find their cousin organization, the Statesmen. Meanwhile, the Golden Circle, a drug cartel, takes the world hostage by poisoning hundreds of drug users. It's up to the Kingsmen to team up with new and old friends to once again save the world. Taron Egerton reprises his role as Eggsy, as well as Colin Firth and Mark Strong reappear as Harry and Merlin. Channing Tatum, Halle Berry, and Julianne Moore join the cast as Agent Tequila, Agent Ginger Ale, and Poppy, as well as a star appearance by Elton John. This film was directed by Matthew Vaughn. For 007 fans like myself, this film is a great action-packed adventure. The stark contrast between the very prim and gentleman Kingsman versus the very rough and tough statesman made for a lot of comedy. Personally, my favorite part was the over-dramatized action sequences, where sometimes the Kingsman literally defied gravity, but made for some pretty cool shots. Although overall I enjoyed the film, the plot in The Golden Circle compared to The Secret Service was a lot less strong. Also, some of the actors in this movie were not used to their full potential. For example, Channing Tatum was on screen for about 15 minutes, while Elton John, being a very minor character, got much more screen time. However, no one can resist a little crocodile rock, so Elton getting more screen time isn't the worst thing. Overall, I would give this film 4 out of 5 stars and recommend anyone looking for a fun movie should go out and see The Kingsman. That's all I have for you. I'm Josie Underhill. See you next time.
Thanks, Josie.
You know, I remember when I fought the Statesman. So.
But wait, aren't you American?
Actually, I'm Canadian, eh?
That's the exact same accent you use for everything.
No, this is my Irish accent, and this is my Canadian accent, and hey, this is my Morgan Freeman impression.
That's really great, Angelo.
It's me, Mario. Okay, stay tuned for Taylor Chambers and Burden Krakowski.
What if we could document what happens to us after we die?
What are you talking about?
I would like you to stop my heart. You give it 1 minute, and then you bring me back.
Clear!
Did you see a white light? It was like a feeling of intense power. It's like her brain's been rewired.
I'm going next.
I'm going next.
This is the United States Drug Enforcement Agency. We are ordering you to land. All right, boys, let's land.
What is he?
My name's Barry Seal.
That's for the damage. For your sister, hey, little darling, and your back.
A toast to the happy couple.
You're the perfect husband.
You didn't. Till death do us part.
Can't imagine life without you.
You're pregnant.
Oh my God. Why aren't you as happy as I am? Do you think Michael's gonna be happy?
I don't want to have children right now, and you keep pushing it. I just want my wife all to myself.
Welcome back, viewers.
You ever feel like you're being watched, Angelo?
No, typically it's me who does the watching. But how was your caramel macchiato earlier?
Wait, what?
Now here's Taylor Chambers with a review of this season of Big Brother.
Hold on, roll back that teleprompter.
After an exhausting 92 days, season 19 of CBS's Big Brother has finally come to an end, and many cast members are tens of thousands of dollars richer. But is the show? Big Brother fans across the country have called this season one of the worst ever due to the lack of actual gameplay, and casting director Robin Cass has been bombarded with complaints on Twitter for casting so many floaters. Anyone got a life vest? Paul Abrahamian, the sole veteran returning to the show this season, had the immediate backing of his house guests in several alliances and ultimately made it all the way to the final 3 without ever being on the block. By his side in the final 3 were Josh Martinez, who is notorious all season for sobbing and banging pots and pans, as well as Christmas Abbott, who broke her foot early on and wobbled to the final 3 with Paul as a crutch. Josh won 2 of 3 parts of the final head of household competition, crowning himself the final head of household and ending Christmas's game by sending her to jury. See where being nice in the BB house gets you Christmas? Paul, who has been self-titled the Puppet Master, often set the ball rolling on the target every week without ever getting blood on his hands, and backstabbed several of his so-called friends. Once evicted members began arriving to the jury, they compared notes and boy were they bitter. In his final plea for votes from the jury, Paul made the point that he played a role in every single eviction this season. But Paul, so did the majority of the house. It's called casting a vote to evict. Josh, on the other hand, claimed that his biggest strategy was to hide his intelligence and his superfan status. But where? Ultimately, a 5-4 vote crowned, wait for it, Josh as the winner of the $500,000. But Josh wasn't the only house guest walking home with a handful of dough. Paul won $50,000 for coming in second, and Cody was crowned America's favorite house guest, winning him $25,000 thanks to his hatred for Paul that he shared with America, as well as his girlfriend Jessica's campaigning on social media. And let's not forget dear Kevin, the oldest house guest by far, who accepted the temptation for $25,000 on day 1. The guy's got 7 kids to put through college. Can you blame him? Most fans, including myself, were happy that Paul didn't win. The show revolved around him all season, and it was exhausting to watch. As a jury member, it must have felt like picking the lesser of 2 evils. Wait, was I supposed to be talking about the 2016 election? Nobody told me.
Preach, preach, yes, girl, yes, queen.
Okay, is that one of your many secret identities?
No, what are you talking about?
Now, Angelo, Genevieve, Ariema, you tell me what's going on right now, or you are going to bed without supper.
Okay, Mom. I'm part of an all-male Canadian reboot of Total Spies. I was method acting for the part this whole episode.
Well, as part of the real KGB, I must say your spy work is subpar. Now here is Comrade Brandon Kratkowski with his segment, Comrade.
Polarizing films are often remembered as some of the greats of all time. Citizen Kane was reviled by a lot of critics upon its release, and now it's considered one of the greatest films of all times in some circles. A recent film that got a lot of people's goad, including my own mother, is, well, Mother. The latest experiment from good old Brooklyn cabbie Darren Aronofsky. Do I think this film is an absolute masterpiece that the plebeians just don't understand because they're too busy playing with their fidget spinners that they bought at the Kentucky Fried Chicken? Well, not really, but I still did really enjoy the film. I thought it was a freaky, effective little allegory in its own right. Though Jennifer Lawrence is the star of the movie and the focal point of all of its marketing, the real stars of the show are the performers behind her. Javier Bardem is absolutely magnetic and terrifying, playing something that we've never really quite seen from him before. Michelle Pfeiffer achieves unexpected greatness as a snakish, disrespectful house guest. The rest of the cast, from Ed Harris to Kristen Wiig to the rest of the house guests that appear to ruin J-Law's life, all filled out the film quite nicely. No one felt out of place or did anything that really took me out of the movie. My only real issue with the performances was Lawrence herself. I thought that though she did her job and what was exactly required of her for the role, there was still another level that I think she could have taken the role to. In some shots, her facial reaction simply did not line up with the emotion that she was supposed to be portraying, and instead was doing that bland, disaffected feelings face frickin' Gosling perfected. Here, I'll show you it. Okay, back to the movie at hand. What I thought worked especially well in this film is how the allegorical content lined up with the story and what they did with the symbols that they were dealing with. The film deals quite a bit with religion, the occult, and environmental imagery. I don't want to get spoilery because that'd ruin the whole point of seeing the movie and interpreting it yourself. Suffice to say, there is enough there that two completely different people could walk out of this film with completely different reactions and interpretations. If the film is what I think it's about, then it's a powerful statement against, well, again, spoilers. But even if the film has nothing to do with what I got from it, it's still quite a freaky ride. The direction is claustrophobic and tight, making the audience feel like they're claustrophobically trapped inside of this film's world. While certain aspects of the plot moved a bit too quickly to be believable for me, I actually thought the text was pretty powerful, and revelations and plot changes were handled with a deft hand. The film was experimental without being meaningless. That's important. It didn't hide behind empty nonsense as if it had something powerful to say. A la the films of Nicholas Winding Refn, I really hate Drive and Only God Forgives, and Neon Demon is only good in its last 10 minutes. It backed up its thoughts on humanity, faith, and the environment with stunning imagery and an ever-increasing sense of dread that hangs over the entirety of the film. Again, this more than likely won't be my absolute favorite film of the year, but for what it is, I really enjoyed Mother. It's a wild, terrifying ride into the worst of man's impulses, and I thank the Lord every day that Universal Pictures releases this to a wide audience. They're liable to lose a ton of money, but more wacky movies in theaters. Yeah, Eraserhead in 3D, Color of Pomegranate starring The Rock, Kevin Hart, Will Ferrell, Robert De Niro. They're the fascists from Salo, the 120 Days of Sodom. I love mainstream entertainment! Oh, I give Mother a 4 out of 5. Until next time, this is Brandon Kratkowski.
Sorry.
Angelo, he's broken.
Pineapple pizza belong?
While Angelo solves this existential crisis, here's this week's shameless plug. Check out Shelby Deal and Lanisha Huggins with their web exclusives, and remember to never let go.
The return of Will and Grace. If you haven't heard, the return of the hilarious TV sitcom Will and Grace is coming September 28th. The show graced the television screen 11 years ago. I am excited, which is why I will tell you all about it. The show focused on the relationship between two best friends, Will Truman and Grace Adler, set in New York City.
Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor, and I think he is arguably one of the best actors despite his lack of Oscars. The truth is, I could wax poetry about all of Leo's movies, but I don't have the time, so I'll only talk about a few. One of the interesting aspects of his work is that most of his movies are at least somewhat based on true stories. I love those types of movies because they blend reality with fantasy. My top 2 favorites of his fall into this category.
Welcome back, viewers. Please be gentle with Angelo as he's suffering from severe memory loss.
Is this Cardinal Film Fights?
No, this is the best entertainment news show on campus.
Bite?
Well, those are close, but no.
Oh, well, what I do know is that Brittany Carlin has an impressive segment ahead for us. Brittany?
When you think of shows that people love to watch, you think of things like Game of Thrones or The Office. But for me, I do things a little bit differently. My favorite thing to watch is the Cooking Channel. Some of you might think, the Cooking Channel, why would you want to watch that? Well, I'm here to tell you why. The Cooking Channel is underrated and one of the most amazing shows that you can watch on TV. So the Cooking Channel has many different shows you can watch. Some of my favorites are Chopped and The Worst Cooks in America. I started watching the Cooking Channel a few years ago when I started living on my own and having to cook for myself. So what I did was turn on the Cooking Channel and started to learn some little tricks and things that I could do in my own kitchen. I really like to eat healthy food, but I also like to eat food that tastes good. For the longest time, I did not think that was possible, but the Cooking Channel proved me wrong. I learned dishes that you can add spices to, and I found myself starting to enjoy cooking and eating healthy. I think more college students should watch the Cooking Channel because I think it can show you what is out there in the world and help you find new things you enjoy. Without the Cooking Channel, I would not like to cook, and I would probably still be making myself food that tastes really bad or spending all my money eating out. So take a break from your favorite TV shows and take a look at the Cooking Channel, and maybe you will find a show that inspires you to save money, cook delicious food, and to be healthy.
Thanks, Brittany.
Wait a minute, Eli, why is my shoe ringing?
No reason. Here's Noah Bullard with his top 5 war movies.
Hello, viewers. I'm back this week with a top 5 list in descending order of the greatest war movies of all time. Keeping in tradition with every top 5 list I've ever done, I've excluded several movies that you all probably thought deserved a spot on the list. Sorry about you. No American Sniper, and sorry, Brandon, no Apocalypse Now. Coming in at number 5 is a movie that I debated on, including for various reasons, the questionable box office performance and critical issues playing the biggest part in that decision. However, Fury, starring Brad Pitt and a very young-looking Logan Lerman, takes the final slot in the list. This film covers a lot of the essence of living in a tank during the Second World War. Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal, and Michael Pena round out a cast of raggedy, filthy-mouthed tankers that fight against all odds against an overwhelming German force. And this film makes the cut because it strikes a chord emotionally and makes the viewer understand just how high tensions could be in a tank. At number 4, we have the Mel Gibson classic, Braveheart. There's no way this legendary film could be excluded from this list. I don't care if it wasn't entirely historically correct, it's a great movie, and Mel Gibson is great, as always. It takes a while to get going, but once you grab onto the plot, you're taken back into the dark days of Scotland and the fight for freedom that's enticing for any viewer. Sitting in the number 3 spot is a film by the name of The Hurt Locker. Jeremy Renner is masterful in his portrayal of an explosives engineer. The amount of high-tension, conflict resolution, and awesome stuff-blowing-up scenes is enough for me to place it above Braveheart. To be honest, Braveheart is a better movie. This one shows the true nature of war and the complicated decisions involved in every soldier's life. It's a solid third place for me. Second on the list belongs to another Mel Gibson film. We Were Soldiers is set in the era of the Vietnam War, featuring Mel himself as a leader of a motley group of U.S. soldiers trying to survive a war they don't understand. And from plot depth to violence, this movie combines the use of great special effects and the director's chops Mel Gibson is known for to give us a movie worth multiple viewings. And coming in first place above all the rest is a movie that you probably predicted would be here once I ruled out Apocalypse Now. Saving Private Ryan sits in the top slot in this list for a multitude of reasons. World War II veterans have come out and said that this film is so accurate they couldn't watch some parts of it. And from the sounds to the action to Tom Hanks himself, Saving Private Ryan is everything you could ask out of a war movie. A common goal, a seemingly impossible task, and the critical acclaim to go with it makes Saving Private Ryan the easy favorite on this list. You haven't seen it by now? Do yourself a favor, clear out your Friday night, and settle in for a film that will blow your minds. And wait, hang on, folks. I'm getting a call. Hello?
All right, right. Okay, sweet, thank you, bye. Well, Eli, I got my memory back.
It was for the good of the motherland. By the way, would you mind looking into this pin? I swear it's harmless.
I mean, sure, but during the break. Our final word is up next.
Yeah, it came in the shape of a bottle. We're from the Kingsman tailor's shop in London. Maybe you've heard of us.
Oh, the Kingsman? Yeah.
Huh.
Look, everywhere it happens, it's It's all connected by the sewers. And they all meet up at the house on Nebolt Street.
Standing by. Green Ninja. Ready and standing by. Oh, ninjas, hit it.
For my final word today, I looked into a genre I've always enjoyed, horror. As Stephen King's adaptation It became the highest grossing R-rated horror film of all time, Black Swan director Darren Aronofsky's film Mother flopped at the box office. What makes horror a hit or miss at the theater? Some suggest horror is quite a niche genre, as other genres like comedy, for instance, can vary wildly from film to film. Others say horror can be too scary for some, which turns them away from buying tickets. I know this is true as far as my parents are concerned. But what is it about Mother that didn't attract audiences? In an interview, Jennifer Lawrence explained Aronofsky's condensed many complicated biblical themes into the film. Could that have caused confusion and turned off viewers? I know when I see a super confusing film, I tell my friends to just go ahead and pass on buying tickets and wait for it to come to Netflix. Many Twitter users have complained that the movie was so bad they just walked out in the middle. While Black Swan was conceptual as well, I don't remember anyone claiming they just stopped watching it after paying to go see it. As moviegoers avoid Mother, they are coming out in droves to see the clown Pennywise torment children. Although both horror films are R-rated, Mother doesn't come with the overwhelming nostalgia that It does. Everyone thinks clowns are creepy, but did anyone watch the trailer for Mother and see typical nightmarish images? I think if horror directors want to see their films succeed at the box office, they should go for a less conceptual approach and a more classic form of horror. But on the other hand, I love to see more creative concepts, and I'm always going to tune in no matter what. I haven't seen either of these films yet, I know, but I can't wait to watch both. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Eli. Well, unlike Eli, I've never been a massive fan of the horror genre. I appreciate psychological thrillers and content that makes me think afterwards, but jump scares and excessive violence just don't do it for me. They never have. That being said, I love The Real Deal very much, and due to this, I've stepped outside of my comfort zone and watched something I would otherwise never partake in. So, yeah, I watched Young Sheldon, you guys. Don't tell me I don't ever do anything for you, okay, audience? Okay, you can get through this, Angelo. Okay, so Young Sheldon sucks. No, okay, sorry, I won't dive into this. I won't use blanket statements. Here we go. Let me pull them all again. Young Sheldon suffers from an identity crisis. It doesn't matter what your thoughts are on The Big Bang Theory. Young Sheldon simultaneously wants to appeal to its fans of its sister show while also separating itself entirely so to appeal to other audiences. What it results in is, well, a Wonder Years wannabe. However, given their desire to step away from The Big Bang Theory, I aim to look at the show as if it were standalone. Now, entirely honest, it's not an entire train wreck. I mean, the cast does their absolute best to save the show. I'll give them that. Ian Armitage, who plays the titular Young Sheldon, and Zoe Perry, who plays his mother, yeah, they're really trying here. The rest of the cast is extremely awkward, and each played pre-established character, archetypes. Oh, the jock brother. Oh, the football coach dad who lives or dies by one's athleticism. Oh, the bratty sister who is so over her family. Look, this is where my abridged review really starts to hit its point. Young Sheldon features no laugh track, no intention of nailing joke after joke, but instead it features long scenes of dramatic dialogue between two characters, and then it features another scene of cringeworthy quotes that would usually be accompanied by an audience's laughter. But the thing is, this isn't Arrested Development. This isn't Parks and Rec or The Office. The humor isn't funny or awkward enough to land on its own. And oftentimes, I can't really tell if the show writers were really confident in what they were trying to make. It has pacing and tonal issues that really scream of an identity crisis. And because of this, I would be curious to see how this show would be if writers really just went balls to the wall on it. Write what you want to write about. Have a show about a smart, socially awkward kid struggling to fit in while balancing the disapproval of the majority of his family and his desire to succeed. That is inherently interesting. The forced ties to The Big Bang Theory, as well as having Jim Parsons narrate every 10 seconds, it really drags down something that has the star power and the potential to be good in its own right. Am I ever going to watch Young Sheldon again? No, God, no. But should you? Well, honestly, if you're still a fan of The Big Bang Theory at this point, there's probably nothing I could say to you to convince you otherwise. So yeah, give it a shot. Whether or not it sticks, though, is something I'm extremely curious to see. I mean, who was this show made for? Who actually enjoys it? If 2% is milk, what's the other 98%? These questions have been bothering me for some time, and I would really love to get some answers.
Wow, Angelo, I can't believe you watched that just for The Real Deal.
What are you gonna say? I'm dedicated. Oh, by the way, you dropped this earlier.
What?
Mission accomplished. So for more of The Real Deal, be sure to check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Angelo Rama.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. We'll see you next time.